people who tend to play like FIFA or whatever are less likely to play the game in real life. It's one of them things, you know, because they're getting their kick out of it. You what? Sorry? Oh, they'll watch it. Yeah. I guess you're right.
Did you mean that they're getting their kick out of it?
Didn't. Evan's here all week.
You're the one that made the joke.
Hey man, I didn't make the joke. You found the joke.
Oh, okay.
I just said the joke.
I don't know if I've ever found a joke in a joke that someone else said. I think that might be a first.
Wait, are we recording?
Yeah.
You've been recording this whole time.
Yeah.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 24 of Podcast Reload. It's the general gaming podcast by SIFTD.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me, as always, is my co-host and fellow Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
And joining us as well is, of course, our community guest, and this week we have our community guest, Senpai.
It is a pleasure to be here, and greetings from the UK.
Sweet. Cool. So have we got any updates or any feedback or any corrections, Evan?
No,
I don't think we have.
No one gives a shit.
No one cares. It's all good.
Yep.
Thanks
That
for not
makes our
caring,
job
everyone. Right. No, it's all good. Okay, cool. So we can swing straight into our questions for our guest. And as we started off last week, we actually started off a new game called Save or Kill. And in Save or Kill, we basically present our guest with two games, and they have to choose which one they are going to save. But they also have to know that the one that they don't save gets killed off forever. It's gone. It's get thrown into the gate of oblivion, and you never see it again. So you have to choose very carefully. It's very quick fire, and he doesn't actually know what the questions are going to be. So, Senpai, are you ready?
Yes, my body is ready.
Sweet. Spoken like a true legend. Cool. So, question number one. Half-Life or Diablo?
Save Half-Life.
Miyamoto or Todd Howard?
Miyamoto, save.
Okay. Assassin's Creed or Prince of Persia?
Save Prince of Persia, kill Assassin's Creed.
Wow.
Right. Fez or Undertale?
Kill Fez.
Right. Is that Kill Fez or Kill Phil Fish?
I don't know. I mean,
Speaking of Phil Fish.
You made the game. Why are you asking him what it means?
Speaking of Phil Fish, who would you save? You Bull or Phil Fish?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll get attacked either way. Can't I just kill both or?
Nope, you got to save one. One has to be in the games
one.
industry forever.
I'm just imagining just holding on to both of them at the edge of a cliff, and then I have to let go of one of them.
Well, Ball will never make a good movie, but Fish might probably make a good game again.
Okay, just because of what you just said there, I'll save Phil, and then probably regret it afterwards.
All right, Senpai's new hero is actually Phil Fish. Can you believe that? I can't believe you'd support such an asshole, man. That's
putting words in people's mouths.
I know, not nice. Okay, last one. Our last one of the day is Final Fantasy or Pokemon.
Save Pokemon, of course. Kill Final Fantasy. That franchise needs a fresh restart. I mean, sorry, but going up in numbers even more is just...
Pokemon isn't too different. Same thing over and over again.
I suppose, but it's just
it's the exact same.
It's much shorter, to be honest, and I don't know how, but I always get myself back into Pokemon. It's the reason why I buy the Nintendo portable systems.
Right.
Mainly for Pokemon, and it's just busted out in a good month, and there you go.
Sweet. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so we should move right into what we've been playing this week. So, Evan, do you want to kick us off? What have you been playing this week, man?
Yes, I've been playing the brand new Call of Duty game.
Have you actually?
No. I've been playing Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Wow. Why would it be a game within the last 5 years? Why wouldn't it be?
We all know why. Like I said last week, just because of the whole Switch thing, I just figured I've been thinking about Nintendo stuff and the games that I haven't played for one reason or another, and a couple of people on SIFTD were pushing me to give some games a chance, and I played through Galaxy. It really is a good game. I just have such an issue with motion controls, and it's just so silly to attack with Mario. I have to move a control while I still need to use it correctly, but it's moving in my hand. You know, it's like trying to play a video game during an earthquake or something. It's a bit silly, I think.
Right. But how you
so
find
after-
it? Like, you finished the other ones, all right? So, what was the last one you finished on the Wii U, the remaster?
Are you talking about Zelda?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a funny thing. Within the past year, I've played through 4 Zelda games that I've never played before.
Nice.
Which is just weird. It was Wind Waker HD, then this year Twilight Princess HD, then A Link Between Worlds, and now
That's
Skyward
right.
Sword.
Yeah, you did tell me you just finished the Link
Like,
Between
none
Worlds.
of this was planned. It just kind of happened with
Yeah.
getting a Wii U and playing through some HD versions of games that I hadn't played. But playing Skyward Sword, I've hit, like, of course, every Zelda game is the exact same way, where there's 3 main temples to go to, and then after that, the game gets a bit deeper and a bit more serious. So I've played through the 3 main temples, and then they actually send you to the places you've already been again to do more. And the game is good. It's like a shittier looking version of Twilight Princess, just because there's no HD version of Skyward Sword.
It's not properly remastered.
It's not properly remastered. I like it. I've gotten used to the motion controls, but what they wanted to do with these motion controls, it just doesn't really work very well. Which just goes back to that whole conversation we had with Nintendo gimmicks, where if it doesn't work well and it's not fun and it's frustrating, then why fucking put it in the game just because it's a gimmick?
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple enemies, like, they have like certain ticks and stuff that you're supposed to pick up on and swing your sword one way or the other. But what actually works better than anything else, because I just kept dying trying to be a little too accurate with, like, my sword swings, either vertical or horizontal, I just put my shield up, and I'm not even kidding, this fucking works. There's these lizard guys that have, like, chain balls on their tails and like a gauntlet that blocks sword attacks and stuff. Like, I put my shield up to block them, and I just swung the controller back and forth, like, in every single direction, and I beat them.
Right.
If I'm able to defeat enemies
Yeah,
just
there's no
doing that,
tactics.
then what's the point?
Yeah, what is the point?
So, but I like the game. It starts off slow, like most Zelda games do now. Do you remember Link to the Past, when it's like you're woken up by a telepathic communication from Zelda in the rain,
Yep.
and then the game doesn't tell you what to do. She says, "Come to the castle." You go to the castle, and you're trying to search around, like, what the hell am I doing? And the game doesn't tell you can pick up bushes and throw them. But you figure it out, and then you figure out there's a secret bush, and you can go in there, and then it's like, but this game is just like, it just keeps going on and on and on and trying to teach you new things. It's like, I know how to swing a sword, I know how to do this, I know how to do
Right.
that. But other than that,
Enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. The dungeons are easy. A lot easier than Wind Waker and A Link Between Worlds and Twilight Princess, I think. But I'm liking it. But, like, what can I say? Like, I can criticize the game to death, but, like, I'm, like, about 20 hours in, maybe, and I want to play more. And
Fair
that's
play.
exactly what happened with Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. It's like a 45-hour game, and I was dialed in for all 45 hours. Playing this game, and especially playing 4 Zelda games in a year, I'm really, really happy to see that Link can finally jump in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
And all
We've
of
had this
these
conversation before. Yeah. It looks really cool.
So just basically looking forward after playing this game, which is it's older than at least some of these other games. It's just nice to see, like, this is going to be the evolution of the Zelda franchise is coming next year, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, Skyward Sword, it seems like it's a pretty cool Zelda game, but it's very similar to Twilight Princess. Very, very
Right.
similar.
Fair enough. Cool. So moving on, Senpai. What have you been playing this week, man?
Let's see. Just completed Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It was a
Oh, this is on the Wii U, right?
yeah, Wii U title.
Hey, look at that. 2 people playing the Wii U.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I feel like
outnumbered.
I'm like
First.
I feel like I'm like 1 in 5 in the country that's playing the Wii U as we speak.
And
Well,
I'm
You're one
I'm
of
the
2
other
on this
one, so there's-
podcast.
yeah, there's 3 other people out there playing the Wii U.
But yeah, I was quite happy that I was able to spend so much time with the Wii U. I mean, if it's anything, a JRPG will definitely give you your time I mean, with the Wii U compared to its other games, and I mean, since I haven't really spent as much time as I have with any other Wii U game, I kind of noticed like some of the annoying perks, some of the annoying stuff about the Wii U, about the controller. It only lasts for like a good 3 hours, and then it's just gone. And the thing is, in that game, you kind of need the touchpad to actually like know where you're going, and so yeah, that really frustrates me. It's felt like a huge design flaw for anyone that like loved Nintendo games, like to have such a low battery life for the tablet. I was just like,
is it an issue for you to keep it plugged in while you're like playing on the sofa or the couch or wherever you're playing?
Well, I was playing from my bed, and I literally, and the thing is, I'd usually jump in the game like after my workout at the gym, and so I'd be absolutely destroyed. And so, yeah, I'd kind of have to like go pull up a chair and then just kind of stand right in front of the TV, like to have it kind of wired up and then play as I go. But yeah, I managed to get over it.
You're a you like JRPGs, right?
Yeah.
So like in terms of it being a JRPG, like what do you think about the game? Because I'm a JRPG lover myself, and I was so close to buying this game. I actually picked it up and I walked to the counter, and then I turned around and I put it back on the shelf.
How long?
So I was almost there, because there's a lot about this game that looks like something I'd be interested in. So like, how do you feel about the game as a JRPG?
Gameplay wise, is definitely a huge breathtaker. With the session skills, so like as soon as you hit an enemy's weak spot, you have like 6 or so other team members kind of jump in and attack the enemy as well, and that was something quite unique to the game, which I really loved. They actually kind of managed to break out with something a little new to the traditional point and click kind of battle style, which I really loved, and it was really addictive, which you'll probably hear a lot about from other people that played the game. The gameplay itself is very, very addictive in itself, so that's kind of what kept me going. However, as for the story,
I mean, that's good. Like the fighting, you probably spend most of the time in JRPGs actually fighting in terms of like meat and bones gameplay. So that's good to hear. Well, what do you think about the story?
Sorry, that's like the main reason why I enjoy Kingdom Hearts so much, is purely because the battle system keeps me engaged. Like in a Final Fantasy, if the story's like if the story's lagging in a Final Fantasy or something, your active time battle, like, it can drag like really badly. But in a Kingdom Hearts game, like even if the story's going complete garbage and you're stuck in like Pinocchio Land or something, like you're still gliding around and doing your awesome stuff. So like you sort of just get on with it. It's great. So yeah, the battle system is pretty important in JRPGs.
I just wish like the story would also, kind of match that as well. It's just, I suppose it's more like an acquired taste, really, for those stories.
It's a very Japanese story because it has to deal with the idol culture in Japan, which is it's a very foreign concept to like certain territories in the world. Like, how did you feel about that? Whole idol.
The whole idol thing, I'm kind of a bit of aware of, probably a little bit from like watching tons and tons of anime.
Sure.
But if I had no clue about that, the game with its censorship kind of makes no sense of it whatsoever. You don't really get that idol culture kind of feel, because the censorship kind of takes away from your understanding of it. So like certain characters would be embarrassed to like dress so bold. And then it's just like the way they dress in the uncensored version is that they would kind of come out in their bikinis and show so much skin, whereas in
doesn't make so much sense too.
Censored version, it's just like, yeah, I'm wearing a baseball costume. It's just like
which in this sense, like, let's not talk about Dead or Alive or anything like that, but that is what like the idol culture entails, is like very young girls in skimpy swimsuits on the covers of magazines and stuff like that. Like, that's real. So the fact that they took that out takes away from the game, because it's taking these real things that are, it's part of the this part of idol culture in Japan,
Exactly.
And
and what I find annoying
they're watering
is
it down and making it something that it's not.
Exactly, and it's just like when you argue like to like not have censorship, people think, I mean, for Japanese games that you're just trying to be more, you're doing it for your more perverted side. But however, in this game, it adds something to it, and then it's just, yeah, really, really quite unfortunate. I mean, I've seen there are ways to kind of like do stuff to your Wii U to kind of make it uncensored, but it's just like I can't be bothered for that. I just rather just have it work from the get-go. So
right. Well, so to sum it up, like, what did you think of the game? Did you enjoy your time with it? Was it worth it?
I'd say it's definitely worth it, especially if you enjoy JRPGs and you're kind of looking for some kind of fresh new tact gameplay-wise. Then it's definitely the game for you. However, if you're gonna get it for the story, then I would highly suggest kind of skipping that.
Okay. All right, cool. Vin, how about yourself? What have you been playing? Let me guess.
This week, I've been playing... what have I been playing? No, I've been playing Battlefield 1, obviously. That's what you all have been playing. I've been playing Battlefield 1. I also booted up Watch Dogs again. Quite strangely, I don't know why. Like a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, of course. The second one isn't even out yet. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not out yet. Well, I do work for Ubisoft, so it's not too.
Yeah, maybe
crazy
you do have a copy.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But no, I recently bought a new hard drive. I upgraded from the 500 gig to a 2 gig hard drive, and I threw that into my PS4, and I just literally downloaded every single game that I had. So now I've got all my games in digital, accessible all the time. And I came across Watch Dogs. I was like, I don't think I actually ever finished Watch Dogs. Like, I got about 75% of the way through it, and I didn't really give it any time of day because at the time when I was playing it, I just finished Grand Theft Auto 5. And playing Watch Dogs after GTA 5 was it's such a terrible idea because it completely blows out of the water. Yeah, it just sort of ruined it, before I even started it. So like I wasn't really into Watch Dogs. But now that I've been playing it again, it's actually a lot better than I thought. Like when I was looking back, like in retrospect, I thought it was a lot worse than it was. But playing it again over the last few days, it's actually not a bad game. It's actually pretty decent. And if you can pick it up for cheap, man, I would definitely recommend it because it's not actually that bad of an open world game. It's got a couple of like Assassin's Creed-y, like repetitive stuff in there, but other than that, it's a solid little open world game. I'd recommend it to anyone that hasn't tried it out yet. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. We should probably move on to our main topics. So Senpai, do you want to kick us off with what your topic is this week?
Okay. Nintendo news. Supposedly Nintendo's ending Wii U production, according to a Eurogamer article. And so, yeah, is it really fair for core Nintendo fans that adopted to the Wii U on launch day and then just kind of stuck with it, like, till now? I mean, it feels quite disheartening for, like, such a short life after supporting it, so early on, and then them getting rid of it so close to when the Switch is coming out. Usually consoles would last, like, a few years, like, after the new console comes out?
Yeah, there's like a transition period or whatever, but this time they just sort of pulled the plug early, haven't they?
Yeah, I think there might even be, like, PSP games coming out at this point. I don't know. Like, some of that stuff does stretch.
I mean, they only just stopped supporting the PlayStation 2 or something not too long ago. Well, they stopped. It was like 10. Well, no, not PlayStation 2. It was PlayStation 3 or something. They stopped. No, they're still making PlayStation 3 consoles. I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, but yeah, like Evan, you've got a Wii U. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, do you feel like
I own one, so I don't really care.
Right.
Because I only care about myself. No, I don't know. It's it's weird. Like, it's the system hasn't even been out for 4 years now. Mm-hmm. It came out in 2012 in December. And that's pretty short, isn't it? They're stopping it now, but like the system sold like 13 million units, and I don't think they're selling any more. The Nintendo fans have already bought a Wii U, and I don't know. I don't think anyone else is. Not only have they announced a new console that's coming out next March, but a month later, they're shutting down production on their old console. So like I don't know how to feel about it. Like, it's done. The Wii U's been done. There's no games coming out, so I don't know. Like,
I think that's the main takeaway from it, right? Like the ecosystem of the Wii U is dying out, and they know it, and fans now know it because they're stopping production. Like before, if obviously then they've probably still got so much overstock that they're not going to run out of Wii U's. Like it's nothing to do with that. It's more to do with the fact that this is them saying, all right, we're done with this. We're washing our hands of it. It's completely out.
Yeah,
so,
they can only stack them so high in the warehouse. They're like, we can't, we can't fit any more in.
Run out of space. We got to stop making them, boys. Yeah. But how about you, Senpai? Like, how do you feel about this? Like, you obviously own one. Do you feel like Nintendo sort of screwed you over in that respect? Like, because you've gone out and you've bought this console.
Yeah, I got it a year ago. And
yeah, you're not getting any more games for it. Like, how do you feel about
same
that?
here. About a year ago, yeah.
It's just like, I bought it a year ago and now it's like obsolete. It's just like, wow, Nintendo. It's just like, I haven't made my monies back from from the money I invested into the console.
How many Wii U games have you purchased?
I'm trying to think. I think 3 or 4. 3 or 4 Wii U games.
Yeah, that's not great.
I plan on getting, I think, two more Wii U games and 2 or 3, and then that would pretty much be it. I mean, I'm not as jaded about it since I got a PS4 on my side and a PS3, so doesn't faze me that much. But yeah, for core fans that like stick to Nintendo or only Nintendo, I just wonder like how the heck they managed to stay positive.
Oh, they're fine.
For the Switch.
They're all sat there with their 3DSs, living the dream. Like I don't think they care about the Wii U. And I think it's getting to that point now where even Nintendo fanboys will just turn around and be like, you know what? Yeah, the Wii U is pretty fucked. Like but the 3DS is doing awesome, sort of thing. So I don't even think they can disagree with it at this point. It's pretty much a dud. It's too bad, man, because the Wii U has got some absolute cracking games on it. It's got 10 out of 10 games on there. Like every
That's
time
the surprising thing of the Wii U. All its games have been reviewed very well. All the games did the work, which is kind of strange. I mean, all the games were really great, but the console wasn't like marketed well, or there just wasn't enough
Nintendo,
flow of games.
Man. Like, I just don't understand how Nintendo do this. Like, they make absolutely fantastic games. I love their games. Zelda sells out it doesn't sell out, but it sells like crazy every time. Mario Kart sells like crazy every time. Smash Brothers sells like crazy every time. Like, these amazing games, their software lineup is absolutely amazing. But then their hardware is just absolute garbage. I just don't know how they screw it up every single generation. I just don't understand
something's telling me that if you have a system that is first-party 10 out of 10 games, or 8, 9 out of 10 games, a handful of those, it's not enough to sell a system.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you need a bit more than first-party, but it just doesn't seem like Nintendo's interested in doing any of that.
It's like
for a long time.
Well, obviously this generation, let's go back to last generation, right? The PlayStation 3 did not start off so hot, and there's a good reason for that. It was designed in Japan for a lot of Japanese players, like a lot of Japanese hardcore players, and it's predominantly designed for them. As are Nintendo consoles as well. They don't really consider the West too much when it comes to that stuff. But this generation, the PlayStation 4, Sony did something very clever where they moved their console division, and only their console division, to the West, and they had Americans design it. And Mark Cerny came on board, and all them guys got involved.
Please.
Yeah, exactly.
What did we do wrong?
I mean, and look at it. Just look at the difference between the PS3 launch and the PlayStation 4 launch. It's just night and day. And
it's giant. It leaps ahead. I mean, I heard it's even like starting to, surpass like the PS2 in sales somewhat to an extent, and it's just amazing.
Are you talking about like where it is in its lifetime at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so early on, and then it's just. I mean, Nintendo could do the same thing. It's just they got to really, really wake up and then just look at the bigger picture.
Nintendo are a bit too stubborn for that, though. I wouldn't say it's their problem. I mean, obviously, a lot of Nintendo fans love Nintendo because they are very Japanese in that respect. But if I was to take one, if you were to present me, okay, you can make one choice and change one thing about Nintendo, what would you do? Day one, I would say move their console division to the West, but not their software. I would not put their software near a Western developer. Japan does that very, very well, so let them do that. But their console division, marketing division, and stuff like that, they really need to take some leaves out of the books from the Western developers, because they've sort of cracked it at this point. Like they're catching up to the market. The market is constantly changing, and Nintendo just sort of feel like they're 20 years behind when it comes to marketing their consoles. Man, I don't get it. But their software's awesome. It's tough. It's really rough. I just wish they woke up a bit, because I want to be excited for the Switch, but. Look at the Wii U. Like same,
and like look what happened. Like this life cycle of the Wii U should have been longer than what it was. Like,
for sure.
Look at this. Just look at this year. Like Color Splash came out in October. What came out before that, and what's coming out after it? Like I can't even think of anything. The last thing, yeah. And before Color Splash, there was a ridiculous span. Like forget eShop stuff, forget the Nindies, all that stuff. Nothing came out for that system. And it wasn't even 4 years old. That's unheard of. That is insane.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like, I've played some great games on the Wii U, like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I don't think I've ever mentioned
joke about it, but
podcast.
people at work have been mentioning that recently. I'm like, oh my god, are you as well? And I explain like the whole situation. But yeah, apparently it's a great game.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Super Mario 3D World. The two HD versions of Zelda, which I mentioned on this, like those are solid games, but that's not enough. Like those are all the games that I've played.
Mm-hmm.
That's like okay, Senpai, what have you played? Like, how much worth have you got out of your Wii U? You said that you haven't got as much out of it as you would have liked to at this point, but like, what have you played so far?
Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, pretty much the multiplayer games, and Pokemon Tournament. That's the one reason. What's the one major reason why I buy Nintendo home consoles, mainly for its multiplayer features. It does have some fantastic single player games. However, it's just the multiplayer, they always manage to get it right. I mean, nowadays it's always about network play, so like playing. There's hardly many games on like Xbox or PS4 that like are happy to allow like offline couch play, so like playing next to a friend's. So
for sure. Yeah, the silver experience of a Nintendo console will never die, I don't think.
Yeah. And it's just yeah. Sorry,
go ahead. Well, like, like what you're saying is like we're counting the games that we've played on one hand, right?
Yeah.
And for some people that might be enough, but I don't think that's enough. And I think the issue with that is, yes, Nintendo makes very, very solid first-party games, but that doesn't mean that every first-party game they make is for every single person.
This is true.
So it's like they have a handful of first-party games. Let's just say the average person is interested in a handful of them. That is not enough to legitimize purchasing the system, so it does suck. And people who still don't feel like they got a lot out of their Wii U, like 2016 was fucking dismal for the system.
Yeah, it was bad. Well, it was like a few months ago, maybe even a couple months ago. I can't remember.
Don't you feel like the new Legend of Zelda game is kind of more like an apology to Nintendo users, so that Wii U users can play the new Zelda at the very least?
I think they initially was going to release it for the Wii U anyways, and they fucking changed their plans. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think it's an insult.
Link's walking
personally.
around with like a fucking, like a little Wii U gamepad like hanging off of his belt.
Yeah, I think it's a total insult to Nintendo Wii U fans, Zelda, more than anything. I think, honestly, I got a gut feeling that game is finished. I think it's done, and they're holding it back because it was meant to come out last year. It was meant to come out in 2015, and they pushed it back a couple of months.
Oh yeah, that is right. Yeah, it was.
And then suddenly they show it at E3, and it looks pretty done to me. And then the new footage which is shown recently, it's like, okay, that looks like the E3 stuff. So it honestly feels like they're just holding it back so the Switch has a decent chance. Because if that game came out, came out right now for the Wii U, you're basically damaging the Switch launch by doing that. If the Switch hasn't got that much to launch with. So
and especially with its graphical power as well.
I honestly think that game is done. They're holding it back just so the Switch has a chance. They're using it as a martyr sort of thing, and I think it's a total insult. Like I think it's sick that they're holding it back.
They think that's going to be the main hook of the Switch at launch.
Yeah, and that was the main Switch for the Wii U.
But it's a holdover from the Wii U, so like.
Right. And I know that's a strong opinion. Guys. I know there's fans out there that are probably just going to be like, "Oh my god, that's a pretty wild idea." But Why else would they have delayed the game by a year and a half other than to give this the Switch version? And it's convenient that it happens to come out on the Wii U at the same month.
It makes sense, but it feels like a real shitty move, like on the people that.
It wouldn't be the first time
they've
done it, though, man. It wouldn't be the first time they did it. They did it with the GameCube and the Wii release of
Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that was it. They held Twilight Princess back on the GameCube so it could come out on the Wii at the same time. They've done this before, so.
Yeah. So, do you guys feel like Nintendo are missing out on opportunities for like last-minute sales? For the Wii U to make some more money, before they kill it off, especially at this time of the year when Christmas is approaching and Black Friday on the horizon. And then its library.
That is a good question, and I think they could have done more, especially in 2016 when everyone knew the system was on its last legs, to give people a reason to get out and buy a Wii U bundle cheap, or something like that, with some really good sales, some really good bundles, more than like the only game I can think of, which is Color Splash.
Yeah.
In its last year on 2016, they could have done like way more. Like, in the past 2 weeks, I have played 2 Wii games on my Wii U. What does that tell you about the selection of games out for the Wii U?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, it's like we were joking about before, like they've probably got like all these consoles stockpiled somewhere, and they probably have, and they probably are going to do all these deals out like we're talking of, and they probably are going to have like these massive, it's probably going to get a price drop or whatever before the end of the year, and they need to get rid of that stock before the Switch comes out pretty much, so it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a price drop on that thing the day after the Switch gets announced, sort of thing, so you've got that choice, but they have to get rid of them.
The success of that is totally contingent on the price. If they put a good bundle price, this system is worth buying, depending on the price for some of the games that it has. Like it has.
How much is it right now? Do you know?
I got my Wii U as a gift, so I can't really.
We shouldn't include you in this conversation, should we?
You probably shouldn't. No, otherwise I wouldn't have bought one. And that's actually one of the sad. Not points of this, but the sad realities is if I wouldn't have received it as a gift, I never would have played any of these games, and I never would have had any perspective on how good the system was, despite
Super Mario Maker Deluxe Set Wii U bundle is $300 right now. So $300 with a game. It's way too much.
That's way too much money.
Yeah.
That should be $200 right now.
Especially when you could get the Slim and, for both Xbox and PS4 for just a little bit more, I think.
And then with like Black Friday coming up, like that's not a thing in Japan, so like I'm screwed and Vin's screwed, but like there'll be bundles for $300 for a PlayStation 4, like for a Wii U and Super Mario Maker, which came out last year. That's too much money. It's way too much money.
Well, yeah, this is probably going to be the first Nintendo console that has died, quote unquote, like it's been taken out of production while it's at $300. Like that's unprecedented. That's never happened before. They normally just drop in price by $50 every year.
This
when
system should have been $200 like a year ago.
It should have been $200 2 years ago, and it would have killed it. It would have done well. But
2016 is pathetic for this system, and it sucks because I had the system. I got it last year, and so did you, Senpai. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, let's get some games. Like I came to the party late. I'm ready to play some games, and they just never released anything. Like all I've done is played games from years and years ago.
Exactly.
2012, 2013, 2014. I haven't played anything new.
It's just I would have liked to have some. Actually, wait. The only new game that came out for me was just Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So just one game from when I bought the Wii U. That's quite disappointing, especially for owning it for a year. And so, and I think what's scary is just like they're ending it before the Switch is even is actually out. So that in itself is really new. Cutting the life cycle of a console before they release the new console. Sure, I mean, butcher the production of it like a month, from when you release your new console, but 4 months?
But at the same time, though, I sort of, I appreciate the honesty that they have with it. Like they are accepting it of themselves, and they're saying, you know what, guys, there's no saving this now. Like, let's cut our ties and just start fresh. So hopefully that's a good sign in that respect. So hopefully it does well for the Switch. But yeah, it does suck, especially for the fans, as you say. So no, hopefully there's a bit more to play on the Switch if Nintendo fans are converting over to it. So hopefully we'll find out about that in January. But yeah, we should really move on anyway. Evan, do you want to kick us off with our second topic of the week?
Yep. So our podcast reload topic of the week is walkthroughs and facts. Shame or tame? Uh-oh. Sorry, I couldn't really think of anything.
That's good.
So either literally or figuratively, sometimes we run into walls in video games that hinder our progress. And like, especially now with like the wealth and the ease of like the collective knowledge of the internet and whatnot at our fingertips, like looking up an answer to the problem we have is very quick and it's tempting. Like stupid almost easy. Too tempting. Yeah. Stupid easy, yeah. Sometimes we have to suck it up, swallow our pride, and use a FAQ or a walkthrough to get through that like head-scratching section of a game. Like, or do we, is what I want to really talk about. So some people I think are strongly against like using walkthroughs, like figure the game out for yourself. That's what we did back in the day because we didn't have the internet. And some people are like, we should tap into the collective knowledge of the internet to like, why waste your time running around and checking every invisible wall to learn how to get through a section when you could look it up in a minute and save a lot of time. So what I wanted to bring up first, and I'll throw this question to our guest, Senpai, like, do you use walkthroughs or facts when playing games, or how often do you use them?
I use them when I'm absolutely... I mean, I do try to, like, when I'm actually stuck, like, proper stuck for days on days, I do resort to walkthroughs because of the frustration. However,
days and days, not even...
No, not like an hour or so.
Okay.
I'd give it days. I'd be like, I don't want to surrender to walkthroughs because... I did used to buy walkthrough magazines for games, you know, before the internet was as big as it was.
Oh, like Nintendo Power was like half like maps and walkthroughs of games. I remember back in the day.
And yeah, it was pretty cool to find all these cool stuff. I mean, even when I'm struggling and I'm lost, I do find some pretty cool hidden gems within the game, which does help. And however, of course, you got to go through it as a last resort. It's always a last resort. I don't rely on it like very quickly on because I kind of want to figure out myself. And I kind of feel like an idiot resorting to a walkthrough.
Okay, so for you, it's like it's a last resort thing. Finn, how about yourself?
To be honest, it depends. It's weird. Like the first time I go through a game, it doesn't matter what genre it is whatsoever, I avoid walkthroughs like the plague. Absolutely avoid them like hell. Like I don't like them. I don't like using them because it sort of ruins the experience for me, sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't really know if games that I play anyway really need walkthroughs because a lot of them sort of hold your hand through games these days.
Well,
you know?
I mean, yeah, like for Uncharted games or like Dead Space, you don't really
exactly.
need a walkthrough.
It's right? Like, here's a waypoint, walk to it. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to get fucking lost, you know.
Well, what about like Fallout 4? Did you ever look up like how to perfect a side quest?
Right. This is the interesting thing. Like, I'll use a guide on a second playthrough quite often. And the reason why I do that is just in case I have missed something, or if I'm trying to like platinum the game or something. If I'm doing collectibles or something, like I'll bang out a walkthrough for that straight away.
PlayStationTrophies.com, whatever.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly. So like pull it out for collectibles, but first playthroughs I try to avoid them. To be honest, like I don't like using them.
All right. Okay. So for myself, for me, like, because I'm insane at multitasking, and I don't mean insane like I'm good at it. I do it a lot.
You're genuinely insane, right?
I mean, I don't even know if that's debatable, but I don't want to waste my motherfucking time. Sorry. No, it's just I'm sorry. I might edit that out.
No, that was great. Keep it
that's in. My sorry, that was Al Pacino. I think that was Heat. Anyways, I feel like
my bad.
I feel like some stuff it's like I want to play the game, but I just don't want to be walking in circles for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And whether or not I found it myself, it isn't an issue of whether or not I can do it or pass a section because it's difficult. It's whether or not I can find it.
Right.
And so the time it takes to do that for me is a waste of time. So, for example, Fallout New Vegas, I almost step for step went through that game with a FAQ.
Right.
Especially because that game is just side quests to the extreme.
I kind of did that with Skyrim, actually, thinking back on it. Like, never for the main quest or something, but, if there was like a random cave off somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd look at the guide. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that one. But that was 5 years ago, but yeah.
Especially when you get into New Vegas and there's that that weird bow tie lapel wearing like top hat weird community, like I don't even like the like the fucking Bundaberg like eyes wide shut party going on.
Right.
Like there's a lot of shit going on in there.
That joke came into my head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, that's where that's from. And it's just like I don't have time to figure this out for myself. I want to do these side quests. I want to get the XP, so I followed a walkthrough for it. And I don't really feel bad about that stuff, especially with side quests, just because a lot of side quests and stuff, it's just a lot of it takes a really long time, and I am not a person to replay a game. There's so many, like, I don't know, the mindset I have is there's so many games for me to play. I'm lucky if I beat the game, let alone finish it in a decent amount of time. So anytime like my time can possibly be compromised by running around an area and figuring out like what the fuck to do, it's like I look it up, it's like, oh, it's not that I couldn't figure the puzzle out, it's that I missed a door on the way to a certain area. You know what I mean? Like that has nothing to do with like me not figuring out, like it's not the witness.
Right,
it's just there is a door there.
Sometimes the game is just very discreet in like, placing that hidden passage or whatever. And then I sometimes get into that and I'm just like, why didn't I see that? It's just like, why did they think that would be so visible to every player?
Yeah, and just, you know what? I bet, Senpai, like 90% of the time, the player sees that door. But for some reason, like maybe I like reached for my beer when I was, like, I guess it could be a cup of tea, but for me it's a beer. But and I was like turning a corner and I missed that door that 90% of people see. So like I get the idea of okay, so let's move into like how you feel about looking stuff up in terms of like a pride or a shame type of thing. Like so having said that, I use walkthroughs and facts to figure out sections of a game where it's like, oh, it's not that I couldn't figure the puzzle out, it's just that I missed this certain thing that I just walked past it. For example, have either of you played Device 6?
No.
The iOS game or
the iOS game by I can't figure out their name. I think
I know what you mean. They made
Year Walk.
Sleepwalk. Year Walk, that was it.
So that game, it's a puzzle game. It's not going into how the game works, but they have some very, very devious puzzles. This is like old school, like Myst, pull out a pen and paper and write it down and read it and figure it out type stuff.
Right.
That game, like I ran into just brick walls. Like I do not know how to get through this chapter, and I left the game alone. And I came back the next day, like refreshed, and I figured it out myself. So like that game, I finished that game without looking a single puzzle up. And it's one of those things like, yeah, I finished. Like it's not that I'm smart. I just bowled through it. And I figured it out. But for some games, I do look stuff up. And it's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! Like, if I would have hung on a bit longer, I should have figured this out. But because I'm right by my computer, like I can just look it up. Like how like the pride and the shame. Like Senpai, how do you feel about that stuff? Looking stuff up and feeling bad about it, or do you care? Like, how do you feel about that type of thing?
I really do feel quite bad. It's just
yeah.
I mean, if it's something that should have been very, very visible, I mean, you just think to yourself, okay, how did this many people, manage to find it? Yeah, I was one of the minority that just couldn't see it.
Right.
And then you look at the comments, and then some people are just like, they'll comment on about the footage or whatever, and then you just, when those times where you just don't see anyone that has the same thought as you do, where they say, oh, I was stuck at this bit. I'm just like, yeah, I was the only one.
Okay, so like when you have to look that type of stuff up, you do feel bad.
Yeah, I do feel bad, but it depends. As you said, it kind of depends on the game. So if it's like a puzzle game, I'll like absolutely not look at the walkthrough because I mean it's the puzzle. It's a puzzle game. You're supposed to use your head and actually think of a way to overcome it.
Right. It's not a door you accidentally walk past. It's
exactly.
The game is the puzzle. Yeah,
it's kind of like using Portal walkthrough, a walkthrough for Portal, when you're supposed to kind of figure it out yourself. You know how to get to the other end.
Right.
Well, it kills the whole point of the game. You know, like if you're the whole reason why we play games is for that, you know, that eureka moment, like that satisfaction, like you did it. You know, that sense of achievement that you get inside. If you use a guide, like, it just kills it. Like, it completely ruins that moment that you have. So even if, like, oh fuck, I'm stuck. Okay, look at the guide. Oh god, I feel terrible about this. All right, okay, you go through that door. Oh, okay, like you go through that door. You walk through that door, and the game's like saying, "Hey, you did it," and you're like, "No, I didn't." You know, you don't feel good about it, so it sort of ruins it for that reason, probably. So, yeah.
But then there are times where, like, it's not shame, it's not pride of getting through it. It's like, I was playing Skyward Sword, and like you get this little beetle launcher that you control with fucking motion controls, but it's you're able to hit things and you're able to control it it's like a remote control, like a drone basically. Right. And then you get a ability later that you're able to catch bombs in the claws of it, and then bring bombs to areas where you can blow stuff up. And then there's puzzles with that. So there's a section where like I'm supposed to like activate this machine to like power this door to open, and there's like you go into the past, and these this is stupid. These shellfish turn into these little balls of electricity. Now, up until that point, you were only ever like carrying bombs with this like beetle launcher, but because they're ball shaped, the idea was like you're supposed to use the beetle launcher to carry these things to the generators, to activate the generators to open the door. But it's like up until then I didn't figure that out. I'm like, and I was trying to be way too clever with how to figure this puzzle out, how to get these little balls to the generator to power it. And then I just looked it up. I'm like, oh, like no one fucking told me that I could fucking carry these. Like, fuck off. This game fucking sucks.
You overthought it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then you just get like mad. Like, you guys didn't, like, as much as Zelda pads the entire series out, like come on guys, nudge me in the right direction. So there's also that might just be me though. Like, I got over it quickly.
No, I think we've all
annoyed.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself doing something the harder way than instead of doing it the most easy way possible, and then it's just like, seriously, how did I not think of that?
Yeah,
and the game even tell me I could do this with such and such, and it just blows my mind. I'm just like, I went through all this, did it the hardest way possible, yet you told me I can pick up the bloody thing.
Right. Yeah, it's like I've been playing Watch Dogs this week, and there's some areas where you can get into to like unlock part of the city, so you can basically open it up so you can hack anything in that area, and you've got to get into these like secure buildings or these secure areas. And there's a sort of like puzzle aspect to it. Like, you'd probably really like this bit, Evan, actually, because it kind of reminds me of like the catacombs bits in Assassin's Creed 2, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
And it's basically just like a puzzle. You have to be able to get into this compound to sort of get to this switch so you can make that area hackable, sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I'll be sat there, okay, right, I need to climb up the side of that building, I need to get over there, I need to climb over that and get around, and, you know, I'll drop down and get into that courtyard. And then, like, 9 times out of 10, it's just, well, it doesn't happen that often, but, like, sometimes it's like, oh, you could have just walked through the gate instead of jumping over the whole fucking building, sort of thing, like an idiot. And it's like you overthink things, and I think walkthroughs like that to a certain extent, where you're just like, yeah, I probably thought about this a bit too much when you could just walk through a friggin' door or something. So we've all been there.
All right, so actually, I think there's a bit of shame, there's a bit of pride, there's a bit of anger to all this walkthrough stuff. How about back in the day, though? Kind of wrapping this up. Like, did you ever use like the Nintendo Hotline as a kid, or any of that stuff? Senpai, how about yourself?
I kind of resorted to whenever I was stuck, I'd kind of resort to like cheat codes from a disc, and then just kind of hack the game to work.
Oh God, you're one of them, are you?
Oh. I was one of those guys back then that bought those 50 cheats or 100 cheats in a disc game, PlayStation games or whatever, and then you just insert the disc in there, select the codes you wanted, and then you'd insert the game, and then you'd kind of hack it via disc. Or you just like input special codes at like the start screen, and then you can like have unlimited health in like a first-person shooter or whatever.
Yeah,
that's how I used to go.
That was the only way that I ever beat Maximum Carnage for the Super NES.
Oh, Jesus.
That game is infinitely hard. Vin, how about yourself? Have you ever called the old $10 a minute Nintendo hotline?
I've never gone that far, but I do have a lot of fond memories of using guides on older games because some of them did require it, like you couldn't... I remember...
So vague.
Yeah, like I remember having the guidebook to the original Dino Crisis, like and you could... Like the old guidebooks that you could use to get, and you could probably still buy them, you could probably still go into GameSpot and get them. But like the actual tomes, the decent game guides that you could use to buy. None of this like going on the internet bullshit. None of this like rigging up Nintendo or whatever. Like the decent guides. I didn't mind them because games required them a lot of the time. There was a lot of things in them guides which you would never find by yourself. Like there was just... That's the main reason why I bought the guide to Skyrim, because if you didn't buy a guide to Skyrim, you would not see 95% of that game probably.
That is a very, very good point, that there's something to be said about buying a guide so that you can see more of the game, whereas if you didn't have it, not only would it take you hundreds of more hours, but a lot of the game that people worked really hard to build would pass you by.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I got the guide to Final Fantasy 9 and I just finished Final Fantasy 9 for the first time. Thought it was an amazing game, and then I bought the guide thinking, I probably missed like a couple of things. Man, I missed so much in that game. I went through it with a guide and just had a complete blast with it. So, sometimes guides are a really good thing. It's not always about this, I feel dirty using them or whatever, but like back in the day, yeah, I had guides all over the place. Like you used to get guides in magazines, like the 2-page like walkthroughs or whatever. Like I remember Final Fantasy 9 got this thing from one magazine, and it was a whole walkthrough little book, and it was about 100 pages or something, and it was awesome. It's like, why don't we get that stuff anymore? Like we don't get these walkthroughs because we can just look them up on the internet or something. So there's something to be said for that.
Well, yeah, but also for Final Fantasy 9, they had those sections like, you want to learn more? Go to this website.
That part was
find,
bullshit.
and then it's like, oh wait, that website doesn't exist anymore, so I guess you're out of luck.
Yeah,
that's a totally different story. But yeah. I mean, all this stuff is like really, really interesting. It's I think we just come to the conclusion that I mean, every now and then we do run into problems in games that we can't really figure out, and sometimes it's the simplest solution that makes you feel dumb for even looking it up, or sometimes you have to swallow your pride and figure something out, or you bite your teeth and you bowl through it. I mean, there are options out there, I guess, is the good thing. And, are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president or whatever?
Yeah, just don't use cheat codes, because you're a sick person.
You're sick.
That's how I'm just saying it.
Are cheat codes like still around for like current
God, I hope not.
consoles?
I hope not.
Because
no,
that
I don't think
it's
so.
like a very old school like getting.
That is one good thing that came out of trophies. I think like they sort of eradicated the whole cheat code thing.
Yeah, it breaks the game.
It breaks the game. Yeah. It literally breaks it. So yeah. Cool. So moving on, we've actually got a new item for Evan's wish list, because obviously the PlayStation Pro is coming out next week, and you're all ready to get one, right, man? Your money's all saved, ready to go.
Pre-ordered for next Thursday.
Sweet. So this week, our pick actually comes from the staff member of SIFTD.net, Bentley. So he actually brings us The Rise of the Tomb Raider. So The Rise of the Tomb Raider is a third-person action-adventure game that features similar gameplay found in 2013's Tomb Raider. Players control Lara Croft through various environments, battling enemies and completing puzzle platforming sections while using improvised weapons and gadgets in order to progress through the story. So, between 1 to 10, dude, how excited are you for this, and like, what's the likelihood of you picking this one up?
This is probably second or third to Uncharted 4 for me.
Oh, sweet.
The second being Dying Light, the following Enhanced Edition. Mm-hmm. And I think the only thing that would separate those two games would be that I might want a buffer in between an action and adventure game like Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
So basically, like, the reboot of Tomb Raider, I didn't play... I played the original Tomb Raider back in the day on the PlayStation 1 a little at my friend's house. I was never a fan of the series just because I never played it. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I didn't know. I had no way to evaluate the series. So it was just never on my radar. And neither was the reboot, even after seeing it at E3 and that. But I got it on a sale a couple years ago, and I fell head over heels for that game. completely blown away. I didn't expect myself to like it as much as I did. I 100%ed it. Absolutely love it. I think it's different enough from Uncharted to where I could play those games back to back.
For sure, yeah.
And because I love that game so much, and from what I've heard from this, especially in the DLC being good, and just this game being the full package for the PS4, like, I'm so ready to play this game.
Yeah, I still haven't got around to it myself, so I need to... I look forward to hearing what you have to say about a game which I haven't played on the PS4. That'll be...
Oh my gosh. We actually might be talking about the same game on what we played on this
Shut up, man.
podcast at some
Just
point.
don't even... You're dreaming. It's all dreams. It's all dreams.
At this point, it is. Come Thursday, it might be a different world. But 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for me.
Sweet. Cool. That's a good one. So thanks a lot for that, Bentley. If you've got any other suggestions for Evan for his PlayStation 4 wish list, because he's finally getting a Pro, then just message me on SIFTD.net and I will try and get you into the podcast. We're going to carry on doing them unless we go over time or whatever. We're going to continue doing them until the end of the year. So please keep putting them forward, and I'll definitely keep pushing them forward over to Evan because he's got a lot to catch up on over the last 3 years. So cool.
Yep.
So thanks for that, Bentley. So moving on, coming up to the end of the podcast, just wanted to first say thanks a lot for Senpai for coming on to the podcast, man. It's been really cool to have you on.
It's been great coming on after all these months. Got
Yeah,
a massive
it's been a long
chain
time.
of messages after trial and error. We finally got there.
Finally did it.
Yeah,
Finally did it.
Yeah, for context, like this has been a long road since early July, to try to get Senpai on behind the curtains. Yeah, so finally we got you on, man. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Cool. So to end out the podcast, just wanted to ask you all to give your Twitter handles and any plugs that you've got, any sign-offs or anything like that. So, Senpai, have you got a Twitter handle and any plugs?
Let's see. My Twitter handle is Tash Sensei. Is that Tash Sensei?
That's great.
I sound like
only a
weeaboo.
senpai can be a sensei.
Yeah, no.
I sound like one of those out of the rails weeaboos now. Hiding behind senpais and
Hey, man.
senseis.
Shit, me and Evan live in Japan, so we're fucked either way, so it's all good.
Well, actually, I only found out what a weeaboo meant like 2 months ago. I had no idea what it was.
Are you serious? Yeah, I got that insult
No
a few
idea.
times. Oh, you're moving to Japan? Are you a weeaboo? It's like, no.
What the fuck is a
You don't even know. Right.
Like,
Oh
no.
god, if you look it up on YouTube, oh dear.
You'll have a good
you'll
time.
Get some scarring.
You'll find
No,
out.
don't,
You'll find
don't
out.
look it up. Nobody look up what
Right.
that means. You're better off not knowing.
Look it up. So have you got any? Have you got any plugs or anything, man? You've got a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I do. It's the Sly Dragon 93 on YouTube. I usually do anime tops, although I haven't done one in a year. But I'm trying to slowly find my way to ease back into it. But I've got plenty of videos for anyone that's actually looking for an anime to watch. There are so many hours went into making it and scripting it. So yeah, feel free to check it out if you have nothing to watch after playing anything. And especially to fill that void after completing a game is absolutely miserable. Especially, I'm trying to think of that one game. Oh, I can't remember, but do you guys have that one game that kind of put you into the void after completing it?
Skyrim. I came out of that game just thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Yakuza 5 drained my life. I didn't know what to do. But you played that game for like 100 hours, didn't you?
100 hours. That's cute.
Like what?
Try
Like
300.
times? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
300 hours I put into Skyrim, and I can still go into that game to this day, load up a game, and just go and find somewhere new where I've never been. That's how fucking big that game is. It's ridiculous.
I'm so fucking tired. I glanced down at the bottom of my my MacBook, and the current call that we have going, I thought it was a fucking SIFTD achievement that popped up. Apparently, I got the one and only Tashvin Hill fucking achievement on SIFTD.
Hey, man, that's
pretty
rare.
floored about
That's
it.
really rare.
Yeah.
And I know because I fucking made them. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely did. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. Anyways.
no, it's all
Skyrim.
good. What was the YouTube channel again, man? What was the name of it?
The Sly Dragon 93. That's the username on YouTube. So
Sweet. Yeah, so go and check it out for any anime and news and reviews and all that sort of stuff that he does. So, yeah, go and give him a subscribe. I'm sure you'll see some cool stuff. Even if he hasn't done anything in a while, then maybe there's some more stuff coming, as he said. So how about you, Evan? What is your Twitter handle and any sign-offs that you've got?
You can catch me at TheStandUser on Twitter, SIFTD, Giant Bomb. I'll be writing the new TurboGrafx Thursdays coming next week.
Finally.
Better watch out, because it's turbo.
What a way to get people on that.
Yeah.
Under promising.
All of you, don't log on at once. You'll crash the site. Vin, how about yourself?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at VinHillArt. You can find me and some of my finger paintings on there from time to time, as always. And I'm also, of course, always on SIFTD.net, arguing with Nintendo fanboys as I do. So, yeah.
You're like the defenders of...
Yeah, defenders of free speech, right? What can we say? So yeah, from everyone here at Podcast Reload, just want to say a massive thank you for tuning in every week. And if you do want to be on the podcast, because our list is very thin right now, then please get in touch with either me or Evan on SIFTD.net, and we will get you on the show. Or you can message us or tweet us on Twitter. We are at podcast_reload, so you can follow us on there and you can keep up to date with everything that we're up to on there as well. So from everyone here, thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. So ta-ta.
I just want to say that regardless of what you think about anything, you can always walk through my FAQ!
Wow.
Is that how you propose to your wife as well? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I opened the case. She thought it was a necklace and it was a ring. I was like, why did you think that was a necklace? By the way, will you marry me? That's the fucking weirdest conversation.